By December 1962, competition in short-haul jet travel had intensified between the United Kingdom and the United States. In London, British European Airways was urging Hawker Siddeley to produce a narrow-body jet that could compete with American designs. Meanwhile, Boeing was developing the 727 in Seattle, a trijet built for busy airports and high-frequency routes. Both aircraft featured similar configurations: 3 rear-mounted engines, a T-tail, and a focus on modern jet efficiency. However, the Boeing 727 went on to achieve significant commercial success, with over 1,800 units delivered globally. In contrast, the British-built Trident, which entered service in 1964, saw fewer than 120 deliveries. Despite its limited market reach, the Trident was highly regarded by pilots for its precision and advanced technology. It was one of the first commercial jets capable of automatic landings, a capability that preceded similar systems on Boeing and Douglas aircraft. The competition between these two jets reflected broader industry dynamics: European innovation versus American market scale, and influenced the direction of commercial aviation for years to come. The development of the Trident began in response to British European Airways' evolving requirements in the late 1950s. Initially, BEA requested a medium-range jetliner capable of carrying approximately 111 passengers over distances of up to 2,000 nautical miles. This specification positioned the aircraft to compete with the French Sud Aviation Caravelle and the emerging Douglas DC-9. Design work was led by de Havilland, which was later integrated into the Hawker Siddeley Group. The original DH-121 concept, unveiled in 1958, featured a wide fuselage for 6 abreast seating, a wingspan close to 100 feet, and a maximum takeoff weight exceeding 150,000 pounds. It was intended to use Rolls-Royce Medway engines, each producing over 15,000 pounds of thrust, giving it the performance to rival future American jets. However, BEA revised its requirements, focusing on shorter European routes and reducing the aircraft's size and range. The updated specification lowered seating capacity to around 101 passengers and reduced maximum range to under 1,500 nautical miles. As a result, the design team replaced the Medway engines with smaller Rolls-Royce Spey turbofans, which produced about 11,400 pounds of thrust in early versions. The final design was lighter and more limited in range and payload. While the original DH-121 could have matched the Boeing 727 in performance, the scaled-down Trident was optimized for short-haul, high-frequency routes such as London-Paris and London-Frankfurt, but lacked the thrust for longer markets. Structurally, the Trident adopted a distinctive layout with 3 rear-mounted engines and a T-tail. 2 engines were positioned on either side of the fuselage, and the third was embedded in the tail with an S-duct intake. This configuration allowed for a clean wing design, improving aerodynamics and reducing cabin noise compared to wing-mounted engines. The wing was swept at 35 degrees and designed for cruising at Mach 0.88, making it one of the fastest subsonic airliners of its time. The initial Trident 1 measured about 115 feet in length with a wingspan just over 98 feet. Its cabin accommodated 5 abreast seating, narrower than competitors like the Caravelle, DC-9, and Boeing 727. Early variants carried between 101 and 128 passengers, with later models such as the Trident 3B stretched to seats nearly 180. Takeoff weight ranged from 120,000 pounds in early versions to over 150,000 pounds in later ones. BEA's revised specifications placed the Trident in a limited market segment. It was too small for global carriers seeking flexibility across domestic and long-haul routes, yet too advanced to be classified as a regional jet. This mismatch between design potential and market demand shaped its commercial performance, While BEA remained its primary operator, the Trident's limited range and thrust became more apparent when Boeing introduced the Boeing 727, a similarly configured aircraft with broader market appeal. Despite its compact dimensions, the Trident incorporated several advanced systems that would later influence aviation technology. Many of these innovations would only be fully appreciated once the aircraft entered service, particularly in the cockpit. On April 1, 1964, the Hawker Siddeley Trident entered scheduled passenger service with British European Airways, BEA, operating its first route between London and Copenhagen. As the launch customer, BEA had played a key role in shaping the aircraft's design and placed an initial order for 24 Trident 1C units. These aircraft featured a two-class configuration, seating approximately 111 passengers, and had a maximum takeoff weight of 120,000 pounds. They were deployed across BEA's busy European network, serving destinations such as Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, and Frankfurt, routes typically under 1,000 nautical miles. With a cruise speed of Mach 0.88, the Trident often arrived ahead of schedule, giving BEA a competitive edge in punctuality. While BEA remained the primary operator, the Trident saw limited adoption internationally. Pakistan International Airlines became the first overseas customer in 1966, using the aircraft on regional routes like Karachi-Dhaka. Kuwait Airways and Iraqi Airways also acquired small fleets for Gulf Europe operations. The most notable export success came in the 1970s when China's Civil Aviation Administration, CAAC, purchased over 30 aircraft, making it the largest operator outside the UK. These aircraft served domestic trunk routes between cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, and remained in service into the 1990s. Pilots generally gave positive feedback during the Trident's early service. The aircraft was praised for its stability in turbulent conditions and its handling in busy airspace around major European airports. The cockpit layout was considered efficient and user-friendly, with advanced navigation and approach systems that reduced pilot workload. The rear-mounted engine configuration also contributed to quieter cabins and reduced vibration, improving comfort for both crew and passengers. However, the aircraft had limitations. The Rolls-Royce Spey engines, while reliable and fuel-efficient, offered limited performance on hot and high runways or at maximum payload. This restricted the Trident's range and made it less suitable for operations outside Europe. Airlines that had considered broader deployment found the aircraft's payload range balance narrower than expected, especially when compared to emerging competitors. Despite these constraints, the Trident performed well within BEA's operational model. It supported quick turnarounds, maintained strong reliability, and handled frequent short-haul schedules effectively. On February 9, 1963, Boeing 727 completed its first flight from Renton, Washington, nearly a year before the Trident entered service. Certification followed in December, and Eastern Airlines began commercial operations on February 1, 1964, just weeks ahead of British European Airways' launch of the Trident. Although both aircraft shared a tri-jet configuration and T-tail design, Boeing's 727 offered significantly greater operational flexibility. The initial 727-100 model was powered by three Pratt & Whitney JT8D engines, each producing up to 14,000 pounds of thrust. In comparison, the Trident 1 used Rolls-Royce Spey 505 engines rated at approximately 11,400 pounds each. This gave the 727 a stronger thrust-to-weight ratio and supported a higher maximum takeoff weight, up to 160,000 pounds versus the Trident's 120,000. As a result, the 727 achieved a longer range of nearly 2,250 nautical miles compared to the Trident's 1,500, and accommodated around 131 passengers, roughly 20 more than the Trident's typical layout. Boeing also prioritized adaptability. The 727 included a rear air stair for operations at airports without jetways, and featured advanced triple-slotted flaps for steep approaches and short runway performance. This allowed airlines to use the aircraft at both major hubs and smaller regional airports, a key advantage in the diverse U.S. market. The stretched 727-200 variant, introduced in 1967, increased capacity to over 180 passengers and extended range beyond 2,500 nautical miles, solidifying its role as a versatile medium-haul aircraft. Boeing's commercial strategy further strengthened its position. The company launched aggressive global marketing campaigns and offered customized financing options. By the end of 1965, Boeing had secured more than 400 orders from major airlines including United, American, and Lufthansa. In contrast, the Trident sales remained limited, largely confined to BEA's short-haul European network. Even within the UK, Hawker Siddeley faced challenges attracting additional customers due to the aircraft's restricted payload range capabilities. This disparity was rooted in BEA's influence over the Trident's design. The airline's preference for a smaller, route-specific jet limited its broader market appeal. International carriers seeking more flexible aircraft found the 727 better suited to their needs, offering greater capacity, range, and operational versatility. For pilots, the Hawker Siddeley Trident offered a unique combination of advanced technology and reliable handling. It was the first commercial jetliners certified for fully automatic landings, achieving Category 3 minima in 1968. This allowed operations in low visibility conditions, including decision heights of 0 and visibility below 200 meters. For British European Airways (BEA) crews operating in fog-prone environments like Heathrow, this capability significantly enhanced safety and operational consistency. Many pilots noted that the Trident's auto-land system often performed smoother landings than manual approaches in poor weather. The aircraft's handling characteristics further supported its reputation. Its wing design and control responsiveness provided stability in crosswinds and turbulent conditions. Pilots transitioning from turboprops such as the Vickers Viscount appreciated the Trident's predictable behavior during approach and its manageable stall characteristics, which contributed to crew confidence. Inside the cockpit, the layout emphasized clarity and efficiency. Instruments were logically arranged, reducing workload during critical phases of flight. Pilots often described the Trident as intuitive, with systems that behaved predictably and without surprises, an advantage over some contemporary aircraft. In comparison, Boeing's 727 was known for certain handling challenges. Its high-mounted T-tail could cause abrupt pitch changes during rotation if speeds were misjudged, requiring careful attention during takeoff. While not inherently unsafe, pilots familiar with both types often found the Trident more forgiving, especially near the limits of its performance envelope. This balance of automation and manual control earned the Trident lasting respect among flight crews. However, its broader success would depend on operational economics and market adaptability. The Trident remains one of the most technically advanced narrow-body aircraft of its time. Its automation systems and handling qualities earned strong approval from pilots who valued its reliability and precision. However, the aircraft was developed around the specific needs of a single airline, and those design choices limited its broader market appeal. In contrast, Boeing's 727 became the dominant tri-jet globally, with over 1,800 units delivered. The Trident ended production at just 117 aircraft. Despite this, its reputation endured in flight decks as a pilot-friendly jet with forward-thinking systems and dependable performance. It's worth considering whether the Trident could have competed more effectively had it retained its original, larger specification. Was its limited success the result of design constraints imposed by BEA, or was Boeing's global strategy simply more effective?